Everyone wants $1,000,000, but very few ever ask, what kind of person must I become to keep it? See, money is a mirror. It doesn't make you rich. It reflects how rich you already are in mindset, habits, and discipline. You can't out-earn poor thinking, and you can't sustain wealth with weak philosophy. So, before you chase the million, learn to think like the one who already earned it. Because wealth doesn't come to the lucky, it comes to the prepared. There's a secret game the rich play, and most people don't even know it exists. While the crowd chases money, the intelligent investor chases value. While others spend, they plant. While others rush, they wait. And while the world talks about what they want, the investor acts on what compounds. You see, it's not about working harder, it's about thinking sharper. That's how the quiet few build fortunes while the noisy many stay stuck. Let me tell you something I learned early in life. Money is a very shy companion. If you ignore it, it slips quietly out the back door. But if you pay attention, if you study it, if you treat it with respect, it begins to trust you. Most people never master the art of financial awareness. They live in a fog, spending without knowing, earning without direction, and wondering where it all disappears. They say, I just don't make enough. No, the truth is, they don't manage enough of what they make. What you don't track, you can't control. And what you don't control eventually controls you. When I first began my journey toward wealth, I wasn't poor because of lack of opportunity. I was poor because of lack of awareness. I had a wallet, but no record. Money came in, and somehow it just vanished. It wasn't until I began to track every dollar, every cent, that I realized how careless I had been with my own future. You see, money is a mirror. It reflects your discipline, your awareness, your priorities. Every dollar that leaves your hand tells a story. And if you're not writing that story intentionally, someone else will write it for you. So I started small. I carried a little notebook. Every expense, no matter how small, coffee, gas, paper, rent, I wrote it down. After 30 days, I looked back and discovered a shocking truth. I wasn't losing money to big mistakes. I was losing it to small leaks. A few unnecessary subscriptions here, a few thoughtless splurges there, and my income had been silently escaping me, dollar by dollar. It wasn't theft, it was negligence. That was my wake-up call. Wealth begins not with earning more, but with seeing more. Now, awareness isn't just about numbers, it's about behavior. When you begin to study your money, you start to understand your habits, your impulses, your fears. You see the difference between what's necessary and what's emotional. You notice that every purchase either feeds your future or steals from it. The intelligent investor knows that tracking money isn't about being frugal, it's about being focused. You label every dollar. Spend, save, invest, or give. Every dollar must have a purpose, because purpose prevents waste. Once I began to track and label every expense, I realized something powerful. Money started to obey me. I wasn't just working for it, it was working for me. When you take control of your financial awareness, you move from reaction to intention. You stop being a victim of your habits and become the architect of your freedom. So start today. Track every expense, review every week, and know exactly where your money goes. Because if you don't tell your money where to go, it will decide for itself, and it never chooses your dreams. When it comes to investing, most people don't lose money because the market is cruel. They lose it because they're blind in the game they're playing. They chase trends they don't understand. Follow tips from friends who are guessing and then call it bad luck when things fall apart. But luck has very little to do with it. Wealth isn't built on chance, it's built on comprehension. The intelligent investor never gambles. He studies, he grows, he learns the language of money before he tries to speak it. I learned this lesson the hard way. Early in my career, someone pitched me an investment that couldn't fail. They spoke fast, promised quick returns, and made it sound effortless. I didn't understand half of what they said, but I didn't want to miss out. So I jumped in. A few months later, the whole thing crumbled, and so did my investment. The loss wasn't financial, it was educational. I had paid tuition to the school of ignorance. From that moment on, I made myself a promise. I will never again put my money into something I can't explain. You see, investing is not about chasing opportunities. It's about understanding them. Before you invest, you must be able to answer 3 simple questions. What is it? How does it make money? And what are the risks? If you can't teach it to a friend in plain language, you don't understand it enough to trust it. Real wealth builders study before they spend. They know that knowledge comes before capital, not the other way around. Start by picking one investment vehicle, just one. Maybe it's stocks, real estate, or starting a small business. Then study it deeply. Read at least 1 book a month about that field. Attend a workshop. Follow credible mentors who have already succeeded in that area. Don't spread yourself thin across every shiny opportunity. Depth is better than width when it comes to wisdom. If you master one field, you can multiply your wealth. But if you scatter your focus, you'll multiply your mistakes. When you finally decide to act, start small, not because you lack ambition, but because you respect the process. Test what you've learned, apply it with discipline, watch the results, refine your understanding, and only then scale up. The goal isn't to get rich quick, it's to get smart permanently. The intelligent investor doesn't rush into opportunity. He prepares for it. He studies patiently, acts deliberately, and grows steadily. Because he knows something the gambler doesn't, that wealth doesn't come from luck or timing, but from clarity and understanding. So, the next time someone brings you an amazing opportunity, pause and ask yourself, do I understand it? If the answer is no, let it pass. Remember, it's better to miss a good deal than to fund a bad one. When I first began my journey toward financial independence, I made the same mistake most people make. I depended on one source of income, one paycheck, one stream. And every time the company I worked for made a decision, my future shifted with it. It didn't matter how hard I worked or how loyal I was, as long as my income came from one source, I was standing on one leg in a storm. That's not security, that's survival. And survival is not the goal. Freedom is. The intelligent investor understands that true wealth doesn't come from one river. It comes from several streams flowing together. One stream may dry up, but when others keep running, your financial garden stays green. That's the difference between those who panic in uncertainty and those who sleep peacefully at night. The poor depend on one source. The wealthy build systems that pay them from many directions. Now, building multiple cash flow machines doesn't mean you have to juggle 10 businesses overnight. It begins with a mindset. The mindset that says, I will not rely on one paycheck to secure my future. Maybe your first stream is your job. That's fine. But your next goal is to create something that continues to grow even when you're not clocking in. A side hustle, a small business, a digital product, or an investment portfolio, something that starts small but holds the potential to expand. I remember when I first started my own venture on the side. It was small, part-time, and inconvenient at first. But every dollar I made outside my job wasn't just income, it was a lesson in independence. It taught me discipline, creativity, and the joy of ownership. Over time, those small efforts compounded. Eventually, they gave me the freedom to choose my work, not beg for it. Once you've built your first stream beyond your job, reinvest what you earn. Don't rush to spend it on luxuries or lifestyle. Use it to plant another seed, maybe in real estate, dividend-paying stocks, or a business system that generates passive income. Each of these represents a leg under your financial table. The more legs you have, the sturdier the table becomes. And remember, not all income is created equal. Earned income is what you work for. Passive income is what works for you. Portfolio income from investments, dividends, and royalties is what grows quietly in the background. The intelligent investor seeks balance among all three. Because real wealth isn't about working harder, it's about building a structure where money works harder than you ever could. So take this year and build one more stream. Start small, start simple, but start now. Don't wait for the perfect idea or the perfect time. Both are illusions. The perfect time is the moment you decide to stop relying on one source and start creating many. Because in the end, financial freedom isn't built on a paycheck. It's built on a plan. When I was young, I thought money was my greatest challenge. That if I could just make more of it, everything else would fall into place. But over time, I discovered a truth that changed my entire life. The size of your income will rarely exceed the size of your thinking. If your mind is small, your results will shrink to fit it. Before you can grow your bank account, you must first expand your capacity to think, decide, and act like someone worthy of wealth. That's why the most valuable investment you'll ever make isn't in stocks, real estate, or business. It's in your own mind. Your mind is the factory that produces every result in your life. If the factory is filled with dust, broken tools, and outdated machinery, how can it produce abundance? But if it's upgraded, refined, and supplied with new ideas, then everything you touch begins to multiply. The wealthy understand this. They spend years conditioning their thinking before they ever build empires. The poor, on the other hand, chase quick gains without changing their perspective. That's like trying to harvest without ever planting seeds. I remember when I first began studying personal development. I didn't have much, but I had a burning curiosity. I read everything I could find on business, wealth, and philosophy. I listened to those who had done it before me, people like Andrew Carnegie, Benjamin Graham, and Warren Buffett. I treated learning like a full-time job. And you know what I discovered? The moment I changed what I was feeding my mind, the quality of my decisions improved, and so did my income. It wasn't magic. It was cause and effect. You have to treat your mind like an investment portfolio. Every idea you consume, every book you read, every conversation you engage in, those are deposits. If you fill your mental account with shallow entertainment, gossip, and distractions, don't be surprised when your financial returns are just as shallow. But if you fill it with wisdom, discipline, and insight, the dividends will last a lifetime. I often tell people, dedicate at least 30 minutes a day to financial education. Read a book, listen to a podcast, study how money moves. Learn the difference between assets and liabilities, between income and cash flow, between speculation and investment. Don't just work for money. Learn how money works for you. Ignorance costs far more than education ever will. Every uninformed decision carries a price, and sometimes that price is years of your life. So replace some of your entertainment with enlightenment. Let curiosity replace complacency. The world pays dearly for intelligence applied through consistent action. Feed your mind daily, because your external world can never grow beyond your internal one. The day you decide to educate yourself financially is the day your wealth journey truly begins. And remember, money is simply a reflection of your wisdom put put to work. If you want to earn more, learn more. There was a time in my life when I thought intelligence alone built wealth, that the smartest, fastest thinker always won. But I learned the hard way that intelligence without emotional control is like a fast car without brakes. You can have the best vehicle in the world, but if you can't steer it when the road gets slippery, you'll crash before you reach your destination. The greatest market you'll ever trade in isn't the stock market, the real estate market, or even the business world. It's the market of emotions. And only those who master their emotions ever truly master their money. I've watched people make fortunes and lose them in the same breath. Not because the economy changed, but because their emotions did. One day they're greedy, chasing every shiny opportunity. The next day they're fearful, selling at the first sign of trouble. The poor react to life. The intelligent investor responds. And that difference between reaction and response is what separates financial chaos from financial freedom. When you learn to stay calm while others panic, you begin to see clearly. Emotions blur judgment. They whisper lies like, "You're missing out," or "You'll lose everything." But reason says, "Wait, observe, decide with clarity." The intelligent investor learns to pause before acting. He knows that markets rise and fall, trends come and go, but discipline, that's what compounds. I remember once being tempted by a can't-miss business deal. Everyone around me was rushing in. The excitement was contagious. My emotions screamed, "Don't be left behind!" But I waited. I gave it 24 hours. When I looked again, the deal wasn't so shiny. The numbers didn't add up. My patience saved me thousands of dollars and years of regret. That's when I learned, if an opportunity can't wait a day, it's not worth taking. You see, wealth responds to the steady hand. The undisciplined mind buys high and sells low, not because they lack intelligence, but because they lack control. The intelligent investor writes his rules in advance. When to buy, when to sell, when to rest. He removes impulse from his decisions and replaces it with intention. If you truly want to grow your wealth, build emotional discipline first. Write your financial principles down. Review every major decision after a full day of reflection. Never invest from greed, because greed blinds you to risk. Never invest from fear, because fear blinds you to opportunity. Money amplifies emotion. It doesn't fix your habits, it exposes them. So before you ask for more, make sure you can handle what you already have. Calm is a currency of its own. It buys you perspective, patience, and power. Remember this, the market rewards the steady, not the impulsive. Master your emotions, and you'll master your wealth. Because in the end, the richest person isn't the one with the most money, it's the one with the most control. I once met a man who had everything money could buy: cars, watches, houses, attention. But when I asked him what he would leave behind, he paused. His silence told me everything. You see, it's easy to chase luxury. It takes vision to build legacy. True wealth isn't measured by what you drive or wear. It's measured by what continues to grow when you're no longer here. The goal isn't to die rich, it's to live rich in purpose and leave behind something that outlasts your name. Too many people spend their lives trading meaning for appearance. They buy symbols of success instead of building the systems that create it. They want the shine before the structure. But the intelligent investor understands that luxury fades while legacy compounds. A car loses value the moment you drive it off the lot. But a well-built business, a disciplined investment, or a generation trained in wisdom, that's value that multiplies for decades. I remember sitting down years ago and realizing I was working hard to look successful rather than to be significant. I had to shift from impressing people to impacting people. That's when everything changed. When your vision moves beyond your own comfort and into contribution, wealth begins to serve you instead of enslaving you. Money becomes a tool for expansion, not ego. The intelligent investor builds not just for himself, but for the next chapter, the one he might not even read. You see, when you create systems that live beyond you, a business that serves, an investment that grows, a lesson that gets passed down, you become timeless. Wealth that ends with you is interruption, wealth that continues is legacy. And that legacy isn't just financial, it's philosophical. Teach your children how to think about money. Show them that every dollar has a purpose, to grow, to serve, to sustain. Create conversations around values, not just valuables. Help them understand that money is a seed, not a trophy, something to plant and multiply, not flaunt and waste. I've seen people build empires only to have them crumble in the next generation, not because of poor economics, but because of poor education. The next generation inherits habits before they inherit assets. If you don't pass down wisdom, your wealth won't survive. So, spend as much time teaching the why behind your success as you do building the what. And then there's contribution, the most powerful form of wealth. When you allocate part of your income to meaningful causes, something profound happens. Your heart expands, your purpose deepens, and your wealth takes on life beyond numbers. Generosity doesn't reduce wealth, it refines it. It reminds you that abundance is meant to flow, not stagnate. So don't live for luxury, live for legacy. Don't chase the applause, build the architecture of freedom. Because someday, when your name fades and your possessions change hands, your legacy, your ideas, your impact, your contribution will still be working while you rest. And that, my friends, is the ultimate measure of wealth. There's a language the wealthy speak fluently, and it's not English, French, or Mandarin. It's the language of numbers. Money speaks in figures, not feelings. It whispers in profits and losses, in percentages and returns, in compounding and margins. The reason most people never build true wealth is simple. They never learn to translate what money is trying to tell them. They operate emotionally, not intelligently. The rich, however, read their financial lives like a map, and that's why they always know where they're headed. I remember early in my career, I was working hard, selling, saving, hustling, but still wondering why I wasn't getting ahead. One day, a mentor handed me my own income statement and asked, "Do you understand this?" I looked at the numbers, income, expenses, profit, and I realized I had no real idea what they meant. That day, I made a decision. I would learn the language of money. Because if you can't read your numbers, you can't control your future. Every number tells a story. Your income statement shows how you earn. Your balance sheet shows what you own. Your cash flow statement shows how you breathe. The intelligent investor doesn't guess, he reads. He studies where money comes from, where it goes, and how it grows. He knows that emotion may build excitement, but logic builds empires. When you understand numbers, decisions become clear. You stop hoping and start calculating. You stop asking, "Can I afford this?" and start asking, "What return will this create?" You stop chasing high income and start building high net worth. Numbers strip away illusions and reveal truth. They tell you if your business is healthy or bleeding. They expose waste, guide reinvestment, and predict freedom. Most people are afraid of numbers because they seem complicated. But numbers aren't the enemy. Ignorance is. You don't have to be a mathematician. You just have to be a student. Learn to read an income statement like you'd read a book. Learn to measure return on investment the way you'd measure your progress in life. Learn the difference between revenue and profit, between growth and health. Because what gets measured gets managed, and what gets managed grows. Every month, sit with your numbers, even if they scare you, especially if they scare you, because facing your finances gives you control. You can't fix what you won't face. And once you begin to understand how your financial system works, you'll see opportunities where others see confusion. You'll notice inefficiencies, find leverage, and move with confidence while everyone else guesses. Remember, money doesn't respond to emotion, it responds to intelligence. It doesn't care how hard you work or how much you want it. It responds to precision. The difference between struggle and success is often one sheet of paper, the numbers you understand and the ones you ignore. So learn the language, study your statements, let logic lead emotion. Because once you speak money's language fluently, it will never stop talking back, and it will always speak in abundance. There's a quiet force that separates the dreamers from the achievers, the hopeful from the wealthy, and that force is discipline. Discipline doesn't shout, it doesn't sparkle, and it rarely feels exciting, but it's the silent partner that builds every fortune. It's the bridge between what you intend to do and what you actually achieve. Everyone has dreams, financial freedom, independence, security, but few have the discipline to follow through long enough for those dreams to take root. Inspiration might get you started, but only discipline will get you paid. I learned this truth the hard way. When I was young, I'd start something with fire in my belly, a business idea, a savings goal, a new habit, and for a few days, I'd be unstoppable. But somewhere between enthusiasm and consistency, I'd lose momentum. Then I realized something. The people who seemed to have luck were really just people who kept doing the right things long enough for the results to show up. Discipline, not luck, was their secret ingredient. You see, discipline is not about being rigid. It's about being reliable to your own promises. It's setting an intention and following through even when nobody's watching. Wealth isn't built on occasional effort. It's built on daily habits, small, repeated, deliberate actions that compound quietly in the background while everyone else waits for motivation to strike. The intelligent investor knows that motivation fades, but systems endure. You can't rely on feeling ready every day. You have to build a structure that keeps you moving even when you're tired, busy, or uninspired. That's why I tell people, automate discipline. Let your system save you from your moods. Automate your savings so you don't have to think about it. Schedule time for learning and review your progress weekly. Treat these as non-negotiables, like brushing your teeth, because financial decay happens the same way as dental decay, one day of neglect at a time. The greatest return you'll ever earn is the return on consistency. A person who saves a little every week, studies a bit every day, and improves slightly every month will outperform the genius who acts in bursts. The wealthy don't wait to feel like doing something. They simply do it. They let discipline carry them through the valleys of emotion, knowing that consistency will eventually lead them to the peaks of success. And here's something you'll find interesting. The longer you practice discipline, the less effort it requires. What begins as a struggle turns into strength. What feels forced becomes natural. And once that happens, success becomes predictable because you've aligned your habits with your goals. So if you want to make your first million or your first 100,000, make discipline your partner. Don't wait for motivation. Build momentum. The magic isn't in doing extraordinary things occasionally. It's in doing the ordinary things consistently. Discipline will not just make you rich, it will make you unstoppable. There's a simple truth that separates the truly wealthy from the merely comfortable. They never stop learning. Long before their money begins to multiply, their minds do. Because money, my friends, grows faster in the mind than it ever will in the market. You can lose an investment, but you can never lose the wisdom it gave you. Every dollar you invest in your own growth will return to you 100-fold, not in luck, but in leverage. The intelligent investor knows that the greatest asset you'll ever own is your own mind, and the most valuable real estate in the world lies between your ears. I remember when I first started learning about wealth. I was broke, but I wasn't poor in spirit. I'd sit in the back of seminars I could barely afford, with a notebook and a heart full of hunger. Every principle, every lesson, every insight was like gold to me. And I realized something powerful. Formal education can make you a living, but self-education can make you a fortune. The marketplace pays for value, and value is born from knowledge, from understanding things others ignore, from seeing opportunities others miss. The wealthy treat learning as a lifelong investment. They don't stop studying when school ends. That's when their real education begins. They study markets, human behavior, communication, and investing. They read the financial statements most people skip. They hire mentors to shorten the distance between where they are and where they want to be. You see, knowledge compresses time. It lets you skip the years of trial and error that most people waste wandering in circles. If you want to grow your wealth, you must create a learning plan as serious as your earning plan. Allocate a portion of your income, even if it's just 5%, to education. Buy books, take courses, attend seminars, and learn from people who are already achieving what you aspire to. When you meet someone smarter or more successful, don't envy them, study them, ask questions. Learn how they think, not just what they do. Because if you can learn their mindset, you can reproduce their results. And don't just learn for information, learn for transformation. The goal isn't to know more, it's to become more. You don't get paid for what you know, you get paid for what you apply. That's why the intelligent investor turns knowledge into action. Every new idea gets tested, refined, and built into habit. Over time, that mental compounding creates the foundation of wealth that no market crash can destroy. So, when you think about your financial journey, remember this: the best investment you can ever make isn't in stocks, real estate, or business. It's in the expansion of your own understanding. Because once your mind grows, it can never shrink back to its old dimensions. The market will always follow the mind that knows how to lead. And that's how intelligence, not luck, builds fortunes that last. Time is the most democratic of all resources. Every one of us gets the same 24 hours. Yet some turn those hours into fortunes while others let them fade away. The difference isn't in how much time we have, but in how we use it. The average person waits for the right time. The wealthy create it. They don't see time as a limitation. They see it as leverage. Every minute, every decision, every small consistent action compounds. And that's the secret. Time rewards those who respect it and punishes those who waste it. I learned long ago that success doesn't belong to the smartest or the luckiest. It belongs to the earliest and the most consistent. The power of compounding isn't just a mathematical formula, it's a philosophy. If you start early, even small efforts can grow into massive results. The person who invests $10 a day for 30 years will outpace the one who waits until things are better and then tries to catch up with thousands at once. Because money can multiply, but lost time never returns. The rich understand this deeply. They act before they feel ready. They plant seeds before the soil is perfect. They start small, but they start now. I remember when I was young, thinking I had all the time in the world. I'd say, someday I'll save, someday I'll invest. But someday isn't on the calendar, it's a thief dressed as comfort. And by the time most people realize it, the years have quietly slipped away, taking with them the opportunities they thought would last forever. Time, once gone, is never reclaimed, But when you use it intentionally, it multiplies your efforts beyond imagination. That's why the wealthy don't just work hard, they build systems that work for them. They use time as leverage by creating assets that grow while they sleep, businesses that operate when they rest, and habits that produce results long after the effort has been made. Every decision they make carries the question, will this multiply over time? If you want to walk the road to $1 million, you must learn to think the same way. Start now, even if it's small, even if it's imperfect. Begin investing today, because the secret isn't timing the market, it's time in the market. Use compounding calculators to see how patience becomes profit. Treat every hour as a seed, something you can plant in learning, in earning, in building relationships, in creating systems. The longer your seeds stay in the ground, the stronger their roots grow. So don't wait for the stars to align. They won't. Time is your partner, but only if you move. Every day you delay, compounding slips away. Every day you act, it accelerates your freedom. Wealth isn't built in a hurry. It's built through the wise use of time. Use it well, and it will serve you for a lifetime. Waste it, and you'll spend your life wishing you had begun sooner. There's a hidden truth about money that most people miss. Wealth without purpose eventually becomes a burden. You see, money by itself has no meaning. It's just paper and numbers. But when you attach it to a purpose, it becomes powerful. The goal isn't just to make $1 million. It's to become the kind of person who can use $1 million wisely. True wealth isn't measured by how much you have, but by how deeply you live, how freely you give, and how fully you serve. I've met people who made fortunes but were miserable. They had big houses but small hearts, full bank accounts but empty lives. They chased money with such pressure that they forgot why they wanted it in the first place. And when they finally caught it, they discovered that success without meaning feels hollow. That's why the intelligent investor never builds wealth just to escape poverty. He builds it to fulfill purpose. Money is a wonderful servant, but a terrible master. If you don't tell it where to go, it'll tell you where to go. Before you chase a goal, take time to define your why. Why do you want financial freedom? Why do you want to grow your income, build a business, or invest? Maybe it's for your family's security. Maybe it's for contribution. Or maybe it's for the freedom to create without fear. Whatever it is, anchor your pursuit of wealth to something that gives it meaning. Because when you have a clear why, the how becomes much easier. The long nights, the challenges, the discipline all make sense when they serve a purpose greater than comfort. Money with purpose becomes a force for good. It allows you to invest in experiences that matter, help people who can't repay you, and build systems that outlast you. It transforms from currency into legacy. I remember a time when I began to understand this. The first time I used money not for luxury, but for impact, helping a struggling friend, funding a small project, supporting a cause. That's when wealth began to feel real. It stopped being about accumulation and started being about contribution. And that shift changes everything. So as you build your financial future, build it on values, not vanity. Make decisions that align with your principles, not just your pocket. When you earn, earn with integrity. When you spend, spend with awareness. When you give, give with intention. Because purpose-driven wealth doesn't just buy freedom, it builds fulfillment. At the end of the day, you don't want to just be rich. You want to be rich in spirit. You want to look back and know that your money served your mission, not the other way around. That's the essence of intelligent investing, not just in markets, but in life. Build your fortune with purpose, and you'll find peace alongside prosperity. There's a remarkable difference between how the average person and the wealthy see the world. Most people look at price, the cost of something in dollars. But the wealthy, they look at value, the return that something brings over time. This simple shift in thinking creates an entirely different life. The poor ask, how much does it cost? The rich ask, what is it worth? The difference between those two questions is the difference between scarcity and abundance. I remember early in my journey, I used to look at everything through the lens of expense. I'd ask, can I afford it? Instead of asking, can this make me grow? One day, a mentor told me something that changed my financial life. He said, don't buy cheap, buy smart. Cheap things cost you twice, once in money and again in opportunity. And he was right. I started realizing that every dollar I spent was either building my future or buying my distraction. When I began thinking in terms of value, my results transformed. See, value thinkers look beyond the surface. They understand that sometimes the most expensive thing you can buy is the cheap option. A cheap tool breaks down. A cheap course wastes your time. A cheap mindset keeps you broke. But when you invest in value, in tools, education, mentorship, and systems that multiply your growth, every dollar becomes a seed, not a sacrifice. The intelligent investor looks at return, not cost. They don't ask, how much is this seminar? They ask, what could one idea from this seminar earn me over a lifetime? They don't say, this property is expensive. They ask, what will this property pay me every month for the next 20 years? When you think this way, your mind shifts from consumer to creator. You stop looking for discounts and start looking for dividends. And it's not just about money, it's about time, energy, and relationships too. The rich value their time differently. They don't waste hours on things that bring no return. They delegate, automate, and focus their energy on what multiplies. If an activity doesn't create value, mentally, emotionally, or financially, they simply don't engage. That's not arrogance, it's alignment. So, before you spend your money, ask yourself one question. Will this pay me back? Will it grow me, strengthen me, or free me? Or will it drain me, distract me, and keep me stuck? When you start thinking this way, your decisions become sharper. You'll buy fewer things, but better ones. You'll say no more often, but your yes will be powerful. Study how the wealthy evaluate opportunities. Watch how they analyze, not how they react. They don't chase the cheapest option, they pursue the greatest return. They understand that value is measured not by cost, but by impact. The moment you stop living by price and start living by value, everything changes. You stop being a spender and start being a builder. You stop counting dollars and start multiplying them. Remember, wealth isn't built by buying more, it's built by valuing wisely. There's something powerful about a name that stands for something. A name that, when spoken, evokes trust, quality, and respect. That's what the wealthy understand. They don't just build businesses, they build brands. A business earns you money. A brand earns you loyalty. And loyalty, my friends, compounds faster than revenue. You can make a sale with a business, but you make a legacy with a brand. When I started speaking and teaching, I realized that my product wasn't just the words I said, it was the trust behind them. If people didn't believe in me, they wouldn't buy what I sold. That's when I learned one of the most valuable lessons in wealth creation. Your reputation will always travel faster than your products. People buy trust before they buy anything else. You can't build wealth without credibility. See, a brand is a promise. It's what people expect from you every single time they see your name. Whether you're running a company, leading a team, or managing your own career, your name is your brand. It represents your standards, your values, and your consistency. Most people chase money, but the wealthy chase reputation. Because once your reputation is solid, money comes looking for you. Think about the companies you admire most, the ones you buy from without hesitation. What are they really selling? Not just products or services, but confidence, reliability, familiarity. They've built a relationship with you, and relationships are worth more than revenue. A strong brand turns customers into advocates and transactions into trust. So, how do you build a brand? It starts with clarity, knowing what you stand for, and never compromising it. Decide your promise. What do people get when they deal with you? Is it excellence? Honesty? Innovation? Make that promise your standard, then deliver it so consistently that people never have to wonder what you represent. I remember telling one of my students who ran a small business, don't just aim to make a sale, aim to make an impression. He changed his entire strategy. He started focusing on the customer experience, the follow-ups, the presentation, the feeling his business gave people. Within a year, his profits grew, but more importantly, his name began to mean something in his market. That's the power of a brand. It's your reputation working for you even when you're not in the room. And remember this, a brand isn't built overnight. It's built every day you show up, do what you said you would, and treat people right. Every satisfied client, every promise kept, every problem solved, they're all bricks in the foundation of your brand. Over time, those bricks become a fortress that protects your business through storms and competition. So stop trying to impress and start trying to express. Stand for something. Deliver excellence when no one's watching. Make your name mean quality. Because at the end of the day, a business might make you money, but a brand will make you immortal. There's a strange thing about real wealth. The louder people talk about it, the less of it they usually have. The loudest person in the room is often the weakest. True wealth doesn't need to shout. It doesn't need to prove, parade, or impress. It grows in silence and speaks through results. The people truly building something great are often too focused on their craft, their vision, and their growth to broadcast every move. They understand that peace is more profitable than attention. I've seen many people chase applause only to lose focus on the mission. They trade long-term success for short-term validation. But here's the truth. Public praise doesn't pay your bills, and followers don't fund your freedom. The intelligent investor doesn't chase eyes, he chases excellence. The goal isn't to be noticed, it's to be remembered, and that difference makes all the difference in the world. When I was younger, I thought success meant showing it. The nice car, the expensive suit, the fancy dinner. But I learned quickly that when you buy things you don't need, you pay for them twice. Once with your money, and again with your peace. The wealthy understand that. They don't measure success by how loud their life looks, but by how calm their mind feels. They know financial freedom isn't about having more, but needing less. Quiet wealth means building something sustainable. It means putting your money into assets instead of accessories, into systems instead of status symbols. It's working silently behind the scenes while others are busy showing off in public. It's understanding that compound interest is more powerful than any spotlight. You don't have to prove your worth, you just have to live it. There's incredible power in privacy. When your goals are private, your progress becomes pure. You work for yourself, not for applause. You make decisions based on wisdom, not comparison. And when you finally arrive at success, you realize that peace was the prize all along. You see, it's not the house on the hill that matters. It's the ability to wake up in that house without stress, debt, or worry. That's the real reward. I once met a man who lived modestly, drove an old car, wore simple clothes, never talked about money, but when I got to know him, I found out he owned multiple businesses, had zero debt, and quietly funded scholarships for underprivileged students. He said, "I stopped living to impress when I realized peace was more valuable than praise." That man was wealthier than most millionaires I'd ever met, not just in money, but in contentment. So if you truly want to build wealth, learn to do it quietly. Keep your goals sacred. Let your results do the talking. Avoid lifestyle inflation. Simplicity scales serenity. Measure your success not by followers, but by freedom. Because real wealth doesn't announce itself, it simply arrives, and when it does, it brings peace with it. You know, after all these years of studying wealth, people, and the laws that govern success, I've come to realize that the road to $1 million or any great fortune isn't really about money at all. It's about becoming the kind of person who can attract it, manage it, and multiply it. You see, the money is just a mirror. It reflects who you've become. That's why if you chase money without changing yourself, it slips away like water through your hands. But if you build character, discipline, and vision, the money can't help but find you. Most people think wealth begins in the wallet, but it begins in the mind. You must first believe that you are capable of more. You must believe that your time, your ideas, and your potential have value. Because if you don't believe it, no one else will. That's why I always say, you don't need to be lucky to become wealthy. You just need to be intentional. Luck may open a door, but discipline keeps it open. Think about it. The intelligent investor doesn't just save, he builds systems. He doesn't just earn, he compounds. He doesn't just wish for wealth, he plans for it. Every dollar has a purpose. Every action has direction. Every day has intention. Because he understands that time is the most valuable currency he'll ever have. And every moment either compounds or decays. You don't have to be born rich to become rich. You don't need the right family, the right country, or even the right economy. You just need to start where you are with what you have and refuse to stop growing. Don't let the illusion of the perfect moment fool you. The right time is now. The habits you form today will decide the fortune you hold tomorrow. The road to wealth isn't a straight highway. It's a winding path filled with lessons. You'll lose sometimes, you'll fail sometimes, and yes, you'll doubt yourself sometimes. But don't mistake delay for denial. Every temporary setback is just a test of your preparation. Remember, storms don't destroy strong roots. They reveal them. And the intelligent investor builds deep roots long before the rain. But let me tell you this, wealth without purpose is poverty in disguise. If all you do is chase numbers, you'll end up empty. But if you chase meaning, wealth will serve you. Use your fortune to build freedom, not just comfort. Use your success to create opportunities for others. The greatest reward of becoming rich is not what you get, but who you become and what you're able to give. So here's your call to action. Start now. Track your money. Read daily. Build one new income stream this year. Choose discipline over distraction. Replace excuses with execution. Don't just dream about wealth, design it. The intelligent investor doesn't wait for opportunity, he creates it. And one day, when you look back, you'll realize the $1 million wasn't the destination, it was just the result of becoming the kind of person who deserved it. So go out, think big, act wisely, and grow rich. Not just in money, but in wisdom, peace, and purpose. Because in the end, that's the real wealth.